Good morning, everyone. My name is Kurt Hofretter, and I'm an instructor over at the Triangle Sword Guild. Recently, on the 26th of March, we held an armor event where members of our guild were able to get together and see what it takes to be in armor as far as for maintenance conditions, suiting up, and some of the conditioning considerations. We were joined by Casey McCullen, who came up with his own suit and his own understanding of the art as well. It was a great day in which we were able to share ideas and bring light to this concept of armor. My experience with armor has been about for the past almost 3 years of working with an individual named Walker Skaggs from Rocket City, HEMA. He has served as a mentor to me in regards to how to condition, what to look for with armor, and how to build out my kit and how to build training for people within our group. He has done multiple things in regards to armor combat training, armor combat fighting within the HEMA world, and has squired for individuals at events. In fact, one of the things I remember is at the 2019 Long Point, during the armored combat section of the tournament, he was out there actually suiting up some of the combatants. So he comes from a long line of practice of this, and he serves as a mentor to me to help me bring this to the people here. So that's what we did on Saturday. The big thing that I wanted to talk about with armor, and it will be shown in the video footage, thank you again, Casey, for taking that, is the considerations of what it takes to be into armor. First and foremost, it's been my opinion and understanding that armor breaks into two sections. You have armor training, and then you have armored combat training. Please understand when I say armored combat, I'm not talking about the ACL, the Armored Combat League, or BooHurt. I'm talking again into the purview of HEMA, Historical European Martial Arts. So I cannot speak to what they have to do for conditioning or training purposes. Within the realm of what we do here, one of the things I understand as far as armor training is that means getting understanding of how to work chainmail, leather work, some of the things out there, because you're going to be constantly working your kit, as well as have to maintain it, because elements and steel together, they tend to not work very well. So that's when we talk about armor training. That's about getting into things, out of things, and learning what it takes to be able to maintain your kit. Armor combat training breaks into two sections, which breaks into armor conditioning. So how do you get into this? You know, we all want to go to the text and start, let's do all these incredible techniques. The trouble with that is if you don't know how to move in this new state of armor, of weight distribution and everything, that tends to be a little bit more difficult, and it makes it much more harder for you to be able to maintain safe posture and structure. Again, these are how I see it. The drills that I introduced out there were three. First, we just did some basic movement. I talked a little bit about Fury, because that's my main focus of instruction at Triangle Sword Guild. But we talk about movement and turns and how we can use these footwork here to kind of shift on target. A couple of games we played were Follow the Leader, which is to allow people to keep control and move in on a target. The other one was Double-Ended Stick, which is a drill that I understand that Bob Charette, another big name in the armor community, developed, which allows you to seek points of entry in a neutral bind to find, like, joints, hooking, thrusting points with the sword. The last thing we did was we had a debut of the game Don't Get Stabbed, which is you have a person that is aggressing and trying to strike those points by thrusts, and you have the other person that is just warding off those. If a counterattack happens, great. If it doesn't, it's more about learning how to defend yourself and move together into a total art. Finally, we did some sparring at the very end. There was only a few of us that actually partook in that, but it was just kind of encapsulating all the stuff together with what we had been doing that day. So this is some of the footage here. Again, I was teaching, so Casey McCullen was doing a really good job of running around with the camera while also trying to partake as well. So thank you so much for that. Also, special thanks to Brandy, who also is taking photos so we can put it up on our page. And that really is just what we had there on that day. So Again, I want to reinforce, I am a student of this, and even though I may be the instructor for armor within Triangle Sword Guild, I still very much so seek guidance from anyone in the armor community, anyone. And just being able to keep people safe and well-trained. So again, thank you, Walker Skaggs. Thank you, Charles Lynn. You two both have helped me a lot. Lou Torres, in our discussions about certain things as well. Thank you so much. And if there's anyone, there's plenty of other people I've kind of poked at and picked at, but those are the real big three that I've talked with. And also, Jeff Farnham, thank you also for your information in regards to how armor sits on the body and your discussions about these things here. So shouts out to you all real fast here. And again, if there's anyone I missed, please, it's early in the morning, I haven't had coffee yet. And I wanted to make sure I got this out the proper way. So with that, we're going to kick into the video.
So I'm going to share with this right here. We got all this stuff, we got ideas of what this looks like, but at the same time too, you can get really hurt fast. Points of balance have gone up. If you feel like, whoa, I'm kind of maybe a little wobbly right here, your center of gravity has raised. That's a consideration. If you're finding that breathing is a little bit difficult, that's because the blood circulation for breath is also raised because you weigh more. Okay? So I'm going to talk about some safety considerations here. I'm going to have Connor be the demonstrator here. When we talk about, if you're working with an armored combatant, okay? If you're working with an armored combatant, the universal sign for get this thing to fuck off of you, drastically hit the side of your head fast. This right here is pay attention and get this off of him because he's probably having a hard time breathing. Okay? So if you see someone doing this right here, like there's a one thing between going, oh yeah, I got some right here. It's from this right here. Get it off of them. Stop talking, help them out. Because they can face plant. Remember, everything's up, all of our points of balance are now raised higher than before. And it's very easy to fall down. Oktoberfest, right? And if you want to know what it's like to have your entire left side of your body go numb, be cool out here, okay? Second thing, he can't see anything. He can't see anything here. So if I go, hey, take the sword. You got to be a good squire. This is something I do with my own team, and that's right here. This is something we learned in the Marine Corps. If I'm in a back seat, I put my hand on his shoulder with a magazine or a water bottle. Now he's got contact. If you are squiring, you do the same thing. So now I'm not going here. Take this. Put it to him. Okay. If I go like this, I have Vero and I have Connor right here, and I go, hey, you all ready? One, you're not going to hear them. There's a lot of stuff going on here. It's metal. It's rattling around. And when you put the stuff on, it gets connected, you'll see it. So we have a universal sign for saying, hey, fighter ready. And that is when we go through it. It's just to raise up right here with whatever arm or tool you have in your hand. You have to do a lot of nonverbal with armor. A lot of nonverbal with armor. Okay? So, universal sign coming up. Got it? In that case right there, taking away from him, I'm talking to him. Right? Talking to him, putting hands up this way. Now he knows I'm approaching here, and so on and so forth. Okay? So when we talk about these things right here for safety, you got to pay attention. If you're observing over here, if you've squired, congratulations, you're doing armor. It's not just a, hey, I'm out there fighting. It's a way of life. It's a way of practicing it, and it's about safe culture, okay? So if you're here, if you see somebody, that doesn't mean, oh, I think I see somebody here. No, stop what you're doing and help them get that thing off. Anecdote. Aaron saw, I sat there screaming like, hey, help me. And he came running over to Oktoberfest because both Walker and I were gassed. We couldn't scream anymore. Okay? So safety is always paramount when it comes down to it, okay? So, that's a few things I wanted to talk about, being able to move this up right here. And that's really just the beginning portion of it all, because a lot of the things that come down to armor is how well can you move in this thing now? For people that don't think a 2-volt is possible, I can do all sorts of stuff right here. And when I put my helmet on, it's the same thing. This is not some clunky fat roll kind of a thing. It's very fast maneuverable, okay? So keep that in mind. So today, what I want to talk about here, how we do with shooting up the armor, comes from the basic practice of a few things that Walker showed me. There is so much stuff that comes from this. If you think that your strength is going to aid you, it's a good way to get thrown on the ground. So that one of the first things we talk about there as far as dealing with armor is a thing called follow the leader. So follow the leader just looks like you have somebody that is leading and following. In this case right here, you don't need to have a lot of stuff on here. This also changes up the game, right? So as I'm sitting here, as far as my tip on, you notice here he's keeping his hands protected. We don't want to do this here because your hands are shot. You're learning to stand like this. Because blading out, that's really a lot of this portion right here. That's a great way to turn somebody. So learning to stand square up in such a fashion right here and let the armor do the job. He stabs me in the chest. That's nice. There's different ways of dealing with this. The first time you have someone doing this to you, and they hear this right here, you're a blow specter, you're like, oh, you hollow out because what? You don't want to get stabbed, right? It's a different feel because he stabbed me here in the guts. That's nice. I find another weak point. Okay. Strikes are heavier. You are way more. Just by me doing this right here, you don't have to go that hard. You do not. Just being able to find point on is enough. Okay? So first, a couple drills I want to walk people through today is there's three of them. The first one's going to be follow the leader. This actually, in my opinion, gives a lot of context to what Fiori's talking about with his traversing and footwork concepts. All we're doing follow the leader here is I'm working on him. I'm approaching him, trying to keep myself in a position, and he's turning around. He's keeping himself right here in the mobile. You notice I'm not triangle stepping, right? I'm not doing this. Instead, I am utilizing its bolt to stabulate, its stable turn, and then walking backwards right here so I can circle on him. I'm then passing from different areas. I am chassised up and down. Okay? So for the basic startup of all that, we're just going to talk about starting right here, advancing on somebody, now maybe I pull him back, so on and so forth here, playing in different directions. That's just called follow the leader. The second one we're going to do, and we're going to go into, as we go into suiting up, we're going to go one more rotation as far as like, so people understand what's going on here. The second one we're going to talk about is double-ended stick. Double-ended stick is not a shoving match. The moment that someone starts pushing on me, you start shoving at me, there's a lot of things you can do there. Because this now just became a shield. So when we talk about double-ended stick, you're talking about keeping ourselves poised on, and I'm working to find the chinks of his suit, to turn him in different directions. I am not passing. I am keeping myself here nice and easy. Neutral. And from here I'm trying to find ways to turn, to thrust in different areas here. Keep in point. Like I said, this is a feeling game. Not everyone's got full gorgets. Safety, people. Even with a full gorget, guess what? You weigh an extra X amount of pounds today. That gorget may have very little to help. I have wasters out here, Morschlock safe swords, and synthetics. I do not operate with fetters or blunts for the moment. Partially because if you get pinned right here, it's a great way to break off a tip. And second of all, there's ways to get these things split up in certain areas and have a really bad day quick. So I try to have things right here as far as wood, We'll make it a little bit less concussive in there. So if I do try to hit him in the head with this right here, it's not as dangerous. But I'm also talking about being able to develop the feeling concept. That's what I'm talking about here. Double-ended stick, the drill portion is just feeling through and trying to work against each other into different types of throws, stabs. The goal is to make sure that one person, so maybe I come here, I pin this on, hold, that's enough. If there's anything else here, this guy's dead. 1 second. If I put my pin right here, this is nothing. I'm learning to count. Now, see how I pushed him? The difference. So just because I place it here on his arm does not mean anything. This means that he can turn me with his other arm. And he gets me to step. That's the point of it all. Not a shoving match, it's a technical.
Another thing, especially for people it's their first time doing it and putting everything on. If you find yourself not breathing, think of breathing. If you feel like, oh my God, everything is starting to feel so weird, stop, take your time. Again, to reinstate what Kurt said at the beginning, it's a way to get hurt fast. So, there is no judgment, there is no contest, there is no way of showing I can do this. Listen to yourself. Listen to your body and take a break.
You'll be praised if you take a second and say, hey, I need to take a second here. I give you my personal guarantee from me and anyone that's in my Lance or I've worked with. You'll be praised and thankful that you listen to yourself in this moment, okay? There is no space for bro culture bullshit here. And if that's the case, you can leave now. Okay? If we decide to do sparring later on, that does get kinetic, but it does not have to be out of control. And people can stop at any point in time. Okay? We'll talk about other safety things when it comes to that point. Right? This is the drill piece. The universal sign for safe is this. Something I just recently learned. So, I'm ready. Blade down, handle up. Doesn't matter what hand. I need to stop. Okay? Okay? Get this off me. Ready? I need to stop. No judgment. We'll have people there observing at any time. Alright? The last drill we're going to do here, and that's for the people that have most of the gear on, is a game called Don't Get Stabbed. And this right here, again, people may not have to do this. This is just introductory drills. This is where I may look at this right here. So looking at Connor, this is all open. His job, as I'm walking at him, I've got his friend right here. He is talking, he's working on trying to not get stabbed. That's the point of the drill. So if I meet someone right here, I'm trying to find ways. He's passively defending right here, but you notice how he's blading off and using footwork in different directions. Your movement has a lot more to do to it than what your upper body can do. Okay? That's the last drill. That's just the overview of what we're going to do today. I'm going to do final checks with everybody here as far as who's got gear. And then what we'll do is we'll start to, before we go into the whole follow the leader, I'm just going to show some basic movements right here that people can benefit from. They may help you as we start to follow the leader and the rest of the drills for the day. Sound good? Cool. Any questions? Any other considerations?
I did consideration.
Pay attention to what Connor and I are doing here. I'm going to be the static, if you will. I'm just going to be holding out. And he's exploring where he can put that tip into areas here. As you start to get to this, after you get comfortable with where the tip goes, now I can start giving passive responses. Passive. You start to see how feeling becomes the game. We're going to start off with that. Okay? So pair up. Again, try to keep the light tool to light tool, and we'll go explore those pieces out there, okay? Position 1, position 2, position 3, position 4. And this is basically a high guard, a lower guard, a crossing guard where you can do sweeping and passing over different types of turns, and then a couch guard where you have the cross guard against the touch point. So just for context, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So each of these have got plays that go with it. However, it's not just about a play that you're working through. You also generate different types of turns and movements against somebody. So to illustrate this, I'm going to show, use Connor here. I'm going to throw all my stuff on here. I'm going to show what double-ended stick is. It's all it is right here is we're going to start off with being, just for purpose here, and then I'll demonstrate. We're going to start with the left foot forward. We're going to keep the same sword in context to use. So, and we're just keeping a bind right here. So already, some of you might be like, if you've not worn your stuff a lot, you might be like, oh my God, my arms, or my shoulders, or my back, or whatever the case may be. And that's normal. So you have to learn not to muscle with this, and learn just to be with it. Because if he's pushing on me, my arm just becomes a shield. Pushing means nothing in this. So this drill is something that Walker did with me for, I don't know, hours. And that's where we basically have to feel from this position, and we're trying to get the other person to move. And this is exemplifying the terms of keeping your feet stabilized, to be able to find thrust point, turn point, couching in different areas. Okay? I'm going to put on my visor here, so I'm going to need...
Question.
Good.
Are we doing agent, patient, winner, loser? Or are we doing...
It's more of an explorative nature. That's an excellent question. So to start off with this, excellent question. We're going to start off with just basically being able to feel in that position, right? And we'll have one person just kind of holding this, and the other person's going to be exploring the main areas of where the danger's at. As a point of context here, you can look at me. My armpit, I don't have any vestiges, right? That's the point of context. Underneath my aventail, my groin, my elbows. You could turn inside here, especially with gladatoria. Eye socket, everyone goes for that. Not a high percentage area there. And also, point of context, the thing I learned is why these things are actually bladed like this is it stops it. You can see better, but if this shoots straight in, it stops at a point. It allows for you there to be able to move in different directions. Okay? So, if you're talking about just trying to go, haha, I scored a point, that's not armor. Okay? That'll get you in a lot more trouble, in my experience, by just going, I'm going to tag you right here, and then I don't see this go right up my neck. So this right here actually gives a lot of context, in my opinion, when you start talking about what Blows-Fechten talks about. You have the 4 openings. You have hard and strong. And in those moments, can you turn to fight to be able to do the concepts of Lichtenauer, right? Of course, we're not talking about the sword in 2 hands, but the application is as far as how we move to different quarter areas. In case you have anything else you'd like to add, brother.
So safety being #1 priority in armor, and in every other sport you really want to combat in, the armpit is a target.
Yes.
I have skin in the ribs right there. That's the only padding I got. We got mail, we got gambesson, but at the end of the day, even if I don't put all my weight into it and I just jab, you can still probably crack ribs.
Yes.
So that's why form and structure is good. And crouch, and if I can use you as an example, allow him to move, give him an opportunity to defend himself, as we are just working on this. And if he doesn't defend properly, I start easing in on him.
Yes.
And he can step back or counter. This is a feeling thing, right? Like Kurt's saying. If we're feeling here, and he feels that nail in his bicep, let's turn around so he can, all the people can see. If I stick it right here in his bicep and he feels that, awesome, he felt it, he's paying attention, he's doing what he's got to do right. All I got.
No, that's excellent. So again, for the purpose of this double-ended stick, I'm going to need, can you let me throw my, my helmet and everything?
Aaron, I'll need you too.
The purpose of this right here is, again, feeling. So we're going to have somebody who's going to feel through this, figure out the openings.
I'm going to put rubber.
You don't have to jab, punch, anything like that. You're going to feel through this. Like equipment with like equipment, I mean, honestly, at this stage right here, we have so much that's out here. I think it'll be okay, but we don't need to chew anything up. It's more about the exploration. We're going to pair off here. The first skill does not necessarily matter to have the same sword with you or not, because this is going to be the concept of, what's it called, follow the leader. You have someone that is leading, the other person that's following, in that manner. Perfect. So we're going to have two groups of 4, 2 safety observers, and then 2 people that are doing this, okay? At any given point in time here, someone can stop in between that way right there, okay? You're going to have to be loud with that. That's why we have 2 safety observers. So, universal sign for get the helmet off me. What is it? Demonstrate it. Good. Universal sign for I am ready. Good. Universal sign for I need to stop. Excellent. 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 Okay, good. So, I'm going to split people up here. So, in case I know you've got stuff here, I'm going to have you do 4, and then you 4 right here. And I'm going to float between the 2.
Push off. Cool. Nice footwork. Good turn.
Good turn, good movement. Ready? Okay, get one ready.
My turn. Walk. Okay.
Ready? Good one, ready.
Instead of walking backwards, circle me. That's okay, let's try it again.
Ready? Good one, ready.
There you go. That way you're not walking backwards. You don't know what's behind you. You might trip. There you go. Look, you're getting towards my open and close side when you circle. You walk this way, you just take and take. Good stuff. Yep. Okay. Cool. For example, if I'm doing a demonstration, yeah. Push it in a little bit further down. Oh, right there. Yeah. Now let's see. Down, there's no down really. Go up and try to push the other one. I guess this is all about here. Ready to push it right here. Or turn the push, or just push it up to follow the push. All of them. Cool. Good. Have you worked again in the second year? Head out. You look at 0. Okay, got it. job up here, right? Don't blade off. Square up to your target. Pick up the blade, push your chest towards you. You want to be able to have this protection. See right here? Stop it. If you're bladed, you're turning your body halfway. Look squared up with you. Now you can feel it. Right. Big gear, Brandy. Pushing is so good.
I realized I was trying to put my hips in here like they're all in one point already.
Really fun. It's a lot, right?
All of my shoulders, I can do it good.
So when I first started to do all this stuff, man, I'm telling you, I had the same thing. So this is going to be a constant thing. So that may be a consideration about what you're setting up with things. Let's run and just send Rob Neal and I video, photos on where you not have pressure, and then just go around it. If you're feeling it up here, it may not be tight enough. And that's the way to go. Somebody? Tell me what you do now. Yeah. So this right here, so it's not enough to turn the sword. Turn my sword like you did there. Because just like the jerk, like the sword. You're going to turn the body. Hook my elbow, cross down. Underneath. Now, turn. Now, yeah, but this is right here. Because if I want to different, if I come here, like here. But if I'm here in this, I'm supposed to just the back. There's a lot of the reverse engineering of weight. Another thing too here, because when you talk about you throw the sword into the arm, it uses all the shield. I can utilize my forearm to set those things up. All of this comes, this is here, but also, now we talk about passive defense. You have passive defense right here. That's education, right? So, have you gone and did it in passive defenses yet? Okay. So do the same concept, see where it flows from there, and play back and forth with that for a little bit, okay? Keep your feet. All the stable turn. Nice. Yep. Yeah.
little more and squat back, okay? All right. You doing okay? Keep going. I know you need something. Everything's good. Level it up. You want to level it up? So now there is a opening. Almost. I'm going to. Let's go 30 seconds. So, for the drill, both hands on. That is absolutely valid. But we're just doing that useful distance right here. You guys, if you get to the point where if we get to the point where we start going into he's grabbing them, if you guys just get kick, and you decide to go out, here, that's where things like this might happen. This is absolutely a valid consideration. And we haven't even had a chance to talk about how this is chassis against you to arm lock you out. So, again, nothing wrong with that at all. Absolutely valid. Just for the purpose of this right here, keep it here. I find those spots, you catch. So just work with that. So this right here is the foundation. And eventually you're going to move into engagement. One foot on and then turn the position out. But you got to start off. Cool? And then put it in. Ready, I'm ready. So what everyone's doing right now is just kind of actually both off at some point. Oh! Buzzer came up. Ready, hold. This whole thing kind of starts down. So, when you push, I will punish you every time for that. You push me. I was trying to make your body weight and push the tail, but I wasn't doing that. Alright, we're done. I get you. I was going up, it's like, oh, it's all arms, and then your ball. Think about this. In a real situation, you come in and you start pushing at me. Yeah. Okay? That's all right. Don't push. Yep. Now this is my way of kind of thinking. I hope that there was not too much.
Oh, no. It's perfect, like, that's why you don't fucking do that. I had to.
So we are in this position, chest forward. Yes. Right arm, right, to lower this arm down, like this. So the arms are up, you're up here in this position, your arms are out, like this. There's a lot of spots right here where I can start grappling in different areas and it's all open. Yeah, my arms are like, I'm letting my armor do the work. So, you playing with this? Use your feet. We're not doing passing steps. My feet are not moving. This is why feeling is so important.
Yeah.
Your arm and lower finger. That's why, so you just said they're pulling back.
Yeah.
So making this over here more, I know that probably feels better.
Yeah.
They're pulling back because the leather points up here. When you do the drilling, you just keep that in consideration too.
It really is. I need to.
The natural thing to do is kind of like let it rotate on the grass.
It all sorts of So when you do this, come back here again. If you try pushing my tip, you're just pushing the tip over the other way. By doing this right here, I can disengage and move.
Right.
So if you try to, put your cross guard underneath my left elbow. Up and under. And then push upwards. And turn that way.
Yeah, that's kind of the pommel and just take you out of the software.
Yeah, absolutely. Pick it up. That's good. A couple more here, and then we're going to do the next step. So this right here, if you're going to pommel the point. Okay?
Good, not good. You have the mind space behind it. You have to cover it with the weight. Get that, and then say, oh, well, I'm thinking stiff. Push me over with my body movement, but we're not stiff here.
Yeah, we're not. We're learning how to do everything with our feet.
Yeah.
So, two more. Still wanting to move the feet.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So the big thing about this is, you know, ultimately you have, and I was talking with Michael during one of the training courses yesterday, why you don't push. So one thing over here, in Casey, your experience with the gladiatoria is really showing in there, because there's a lot of times too, in the middle of the bind, if this is no longer useful, ditch the hand and grab the arm. I know we saw over here with you and Rob stuff. I don't do that right off the bat because it's a very easy way to arm lock yourself out, and I try to keep it right now to a space where we can learn this kind of a construct. Nevertheless, it's also a good understanding of it all. When it comes to pushing on somebody, if this is just, if it's just a matter of I'm trying to push you over, because this becomes a consideration, when he was pushing at me, if you push at me, I let go, grab the back of his head, and just walk. And it would have been seconds more when he's on the ground. You stopped it, of course, but if you think about it, think about how hard it is right now to be walking around it. Now imagine trying to get up. Okay? I know that, you did. So, but consider that. And we're not talking about you sat down, we're talking about threw you to the ground face first. And now all they have to do is this. And you're now breathing in dirt. Okay, so I say this right here, I'm not expecting to see that anywhere in tournament, but the concept out there about what it meant to be in this stuff. So all considerations that's for us to have in here, and why wrestling becomes the foundation of all things that are sensitive. So with that being the case, I'm going to move into the last drill of this all. This will be the last drill of the day, and if people want to open up the sparring afterwards, it's totally cool. This game is called Don't Get Stabbed. It's a very good lesson. It's life lessons for teams, you know? And that basically is just good. It boils down to us using footwork, feeling, blading out, and posture to not get stabbed. This right here is great because you're actually talking about a lot of the fundamentals about how to use parrying and feeling in armor. A lot of, at least from my experience, and please, I've also encouraged you, please also talk to Casey. A lot of times when I'm facing off somebody, if you come up here, Connor, real fast here, if he's moving at me, a lot of the time, my footwork and the just basic movement is enough. Be fine, not what I'm going to do. If he starts to stab at me, I'm trying to use footwork to thrust him again. Right? The more you're committed with this, you're going to go. So learning how someone's coming at you. All it is basic parry repose. I don't need to do anything crazy here. In fact, he thrusts at my face gently. It's easy enough for me just to come up here and use my band bracer. So he thrusts in, because that gives me position here, right? Now, this has only been a portion of what the tool is. My forearm also becomes entry. I don't know if anyone found this out there. Come up here. Does anyone play with the concept about we're right here and coming down over the sword and thrusting up under here into position one? The sword's no longer cutting me, so why not, right? So that's the kind of the premise that we're going to be talking about here. So for Don't Get Stabbed, you're going to have the aggressor. We're going to have teams of 3. One person may be safe and observe. Okay? And with that being the case here, for the teams of 3 that we're doing here, you're going to have the aggressor and then the player. The player is just trying to passively move off and use the footwork stuff. And again, like you were saying, we're not talking about stepping backwards. When I traverse and circle on somebody, I'm just redirecting around. This is no different than me shifting my feet in different directions here. Okay? So I can utilize this in different position postures. I don't have to be tip to tip anymore. Right? Maybe I decide to come right here and I'm low. Maybe he throws a thrust to my face. This is the entry point here to the other thing. Leverage on this tool changes up. Okay? So be cool about this. You do not need to go very super kinetic. It's very easy to want to, but we don't need that. Consider the armor, consider the padding, right? So if we're in a position, go to position 1, please. So this right here, this is position 1 out of ring guess, right? That's a shot. Not a lot of padding there. Do not jab someone's freaking hand and make them lose the nerve endings. It's enough just to go here. Okay? He's not wearing anything right here, so Connor's got to be mindful of his arm. So I stab at his hand, this is a spot, this is a spot. Any spot where there's chain, that's a thrust consideration. Okay? This lower hip. Now I don't want to go like this because this is a great way for me to go this way. This is a great way for him to, I go for his leg here like, ooh, it's a shot, I'm going to win. And then all he has to do is stab underneath or hook me for my chance at glory to tag him in the leg, okay? Treat the legs with reverence, because at the end of the day, it's really easy to break up someone's knee in that area, okay? Cool. All right, so with that being the case, here we're going to pair up new partners. Last situation for this drill, and then like I said, after that, it's going to be like if you want to work with somebody one-on-one, like I'm hoping to work with you, brother, then open up to kind of more of a free range space. I'm going to encourage people to stay in groups of 3. And we always have a safety drill. What's that?
Are we doing
Like gear?
Yeah. So like armor with armor, gloves with gloves?
No.
Okay.
Both can participate in this.
In that case, you wait from the armor.
So keep that in mind too. That's a great point that Connor said. When you talk about thrusting, your whole body right here, when I do this, has a lot more. This is a lot more weight into it now than when I go like this, or just my blow specialty gear. So if you are paired off with a blow specter, be cool. Because like what Casey was saying, it is very easy to break a rib. We got a carapace on, they don't. If you do not want to work with an armored person, that's totally cool. If you can work with someone that's similar in that, that's totally fine too. Cool? Alright, we'll kick off this last drill, and then remember, working in groups of 3. Groups of 3. One safety observer. One safety observer. Groups of 3.
I'm coming over. Awesome.
Michael, you with us? Okay, in that case, visor up. Yeah, that would help, wouldn't it?
Safety observer? Cool. Sorry. I was trying to defend.
That way we don't run into the shooter?
Okay.
So, your job's all ready. If we're ready, so we can I would also try down.
So thank you all again for tuning in there. As you can see, armor is very much so a practice of patience and poise and learning structure concepts, as well as being able to keep safe space with checking in on each other, because you were very much so encapsulated, bogged down, weighted, and you start losing your senses. I cannot stress it enough for anyone that's going into the armor practice of just how important it is to keep safety observers on. Something that was taught to me in the Marines was, you crawl, walk, run. And, whenever we would do a conditioning hike, you start off with, boots and utes. So you had utility trousers and boots, and then you had a day pack, which is got maybe like 5-10 pounds, and it had items in there for you to add weight. And also if you had to change things out, like your socks or whatever, you could do so. And then you would bring this up. Eventually what ends up happening is by adding more weight and more equipment, you yourself start to feel more encapsulated, but you also have the confidence that you can keep going. Armor is no different. I find that armor is also very much so when you start taking away the senses, like I can't see as much everything I can hear. Your sense of smell goes away. I mean, when I say your sense of smell goes away, it's really just inhibited by the smell of iron and metal inside. So you're really kind of encapsulated, you're trapped. And that can be very scary for people that are going for the first time. So, and then the moment you have someone start grabbing at you and you don't know exactly where it's coming from, you can see that this could be a heightened stress situation. So again, these are the drills that Walker has given to me that helped me work on my group, and as far as with training concepts, and to be able to bring forward on this. There's plenty of other ones that are out there. These three are really good foundations. You don't need armor to start training armor. You just need to embrace keeping calm and working through some of the some of the transitions. If you have a Harnischfechten kit or a soft kit or just like a Gammerson jacket, you can use that right there. Again, I do not recommend using feathers or blunts. My recommendation is using wasters or even just a stick where you have like 2 knobs in the end, like tennis balls, whatever, to kind of get that concept about how to move in on that. That's going to give you a lot of benefit right there. And it's also going to give you the confidence incrementally as you start to increase what you have. So shout out again to all the people I mentioned earlier in regards to the armor training, the advice that you've given me over the years. It's been wonderful, and I very much so look forward to continuing on this journey and learning from you all, and also within the art itself. I want to again thank Casey McCullen and Brandy Molnia also for being able to put all the videos together and the footages, because that again gave more context to what we were doing out there. And then finally, I want to thank JD, Joshua Wiest, for providing the space and also the food. Thank you so much, Nikki, for providing the food for us afterwards, because I tell you what, we were pretty much gassed. So thank you so much for everyone that provided the space, provided video footages, and provided the training to me in previous years to give to people. And then again, anyone that was out there, whether you squired, watched, safety observed, broke things up, talked, it didn't matter. If you helped clean at the end, which is a part of the practice, it's like going, you take the stuff off, there's sweat, and you got to get the oil on there again. If you helped out any of the people that were in their steel, thank you so much also for contributing. So, like I say, armor, it's a way of life, it's a community, and it's a really cool thing to bring cohesiveness together. So, with that being said, as always, take care, train well, fight on.